Freedom. All we need is freedom for you and me. All we need is freedom so we can be. All we need is freedom. Freedom. All we need is freedom for you and me. All we need is freedom. So we
come to prayer, come to prayer. Hayyalallah, come to your good, come to your good. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. La ilaha illallah, there is no deity but Allah. Hayyalallah, come to your good. As-salatu khairum minan nawm. As-salatu khairum minan nawm. Prayer is better than sleep. Prayer is better than sleep. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Peace be upon thee and Allah's blessings. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Peace be upon thee and Allah's blessings. Thank you, family. That is a prayer. I know to most of us what we've been raised up on. I didn't come here to make this a religious event. I come here to give you all information. So we're going to get started. Everyone should have their blue notebooks. Let's see. And I just want you all to follow along. I sat down with the sister and I gave her a layout. I think it's best because, you know, we are visual people, okay? Now, the topic is, who are you in America? And this is the first part of it. Say, who are you in your relationship to the landmass? Now, why did George Washington write a letter to Muhammad ibn Abdullah, the Sultan of Morocco, in 1789? Is everybody there? Good. Now keep in mind that date, 1789. It says, first let's get a fundamental concept straight. The United States is not the same as America. Totally different jurisdictions and geographical area. It was in 1789 and it is in 2018. When you do your search, you will come to see what some people for various reasons don't want you to see, that America is Morocco. See, all of our life we was taught that America, most of us think that the United States is a country. But I'm here to beg to differ. It's not. It never has been. The United States is a corporation, it's a company on paper. The United States of America and the United States are two confederations on paper. Keep that in mind. So you have America consisting of North, South, Central, and the islands. And then you got to remember your geography. America is not a country, it's a continent. See? So you can never be, say you're an American, it's a continent, not a nation. Now, then it says, you will also come to learn that the United States colonizers, not Americans or Moroccans, was paying Muhammad ibn Abdullah money to be Moors in America, and the great Sultan recognized the United States and allowed the colonizers safe passage based on conditions, treaty of peace and friendship. 1787. 2 years prior to this letter, Muhammad ibn Abdullah was the Sultan or king of the Empire of Morocco, America's north, south, and central and islands. And that's why George Washington wrote this letter, this wonderful letter, to show respect and gratitude to the Sultan. But here's the question. What were Muhammad ibn Abdullah and his people called? I give you a hint. It starts with an M and ends with an R. So we was always been called Moors Aborigines to the landmass. We say that, we think that we are black, we call ourselves African Americans, black, colored, and Negro. But those are all what you call misnomers. And this is why you and I never get no justice when we go into the court system, because of your status. You have to come from under the corporation called the United States. It's not a country, it's not a nation. Exactly what it is when you go to Title 18 USC 3002, Section 15A. It tells you what it means. I didn't make it up. It's not a nation, it's not a country. So the question asks, then what is this landmass called? Now that you know that this is not the United States or the United States of America, now you got to ask that question. So you have the United States that's blanketed over Morocco. This is the landmass called Morocco. It never, now you think of Morocco over there in Africa over there. That's a corporation, 1957. This always have been Morocco. Okay?
The Constitution is their sanction to do business at Morocco.
Yeah,
there's that business flag of amity commerce. Now you understand why you have that Moorish flag, and then you have the stars and stripes. It's a banner. It's not the national flag. This is the national flag.
We just saw it.
It's your history. You're standing on your own land, trying to go to Africa, and you're standing on Africa.
There was a relation. This is why I needed to ask you, what's the relation between the first, colonials and the governors of Morocco? Because they communicated, because on paper, it was part of Greater Morocco.
See?
That's known.
How come you ain't getting this in school? Because they don't want you to know that you're standing on Morocco. That the land is Morocco, the occupational government is the United States. Distinguished from the land. It's a foreign religious corporation belonging to the Jesuits. You're under occupation. And you're referred to as the Great Masonic Secret.
Now, pause it right there. Now, so you all heard what he said. Right now you're under occupation. Because you under their trust. Okay? And y'all heard it from a Jordanian mouth. Maghreb, Alexa mean to the farther is west. So the farther is west is where? You're in it. The farther is west. You see? I can't make it up. Now y'all gotta wrestle with it. Because I know you've been thinking all your life, oh, I'm American. And I'm you. So I always say, well, which one are you? You say you're American, and then you say you're a U.S. citizen? African American? Which one? I sound confusing. You can't be America because America is a continent. They taught you that in elementary school. Come on, think. Anyway, I wanted you all to really get that one right there. Now, let me go back and finish with this letter to George Washington. And then they told you he was the first president, right? So he's talking to the Sultan, so how is he the first president? How? This is what they say, he was the first president, but that's a lie. When he was trying to get a government, he was what you call in the army, what do they call him? General. Not the president. Really? Okay, let me just start something. So they say, okay. They're saying that the Sultan was a generous ruler who was going to forgive their insult and was not going to question them on things they were supposed to be doing and not consulting with him for his approval or non-approval. The Civil War was about the Moors Aborigine government having in-house conflict with each other. See, we didn't come back to redeem it. And we abandoned our government by walking out of the Congress. We Moors abandoned our government by getting involved in personal conflict, just like we do today. This is what is meant by a revolution, according to George Washington in his communication to the Sultan of Morocco, because they had been scheming all the time, all the while, for takeover or overthrow. Our ancestors had a government under the Articles of Association and the Articles of Confederation when they created the Constitution of the United States. The Caucasian took over government and changed it. They changed the federal government and the Confederation. However, we remained in control of the states. Now, see, you always said it in that Pledges of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America. What's the other part? Wait a minute, it didn't say to democracy?
No.
So see, you always were saying it. And to the republic for which it stands. Our states. Right now, you under the state of Georgia, state of Florida, state of California, all of those are corporations. You got to say it the other way. Georgia state, Florida state, New York state. Those are your republic. And we as copper-tone skinned people, we were never known state citizens. We were the landowners, Moors, Aborigines. Until they put you up under that trust. That's why Noble Drew Ali told you under the Civil Rights Act of 1866, there was no need for no 14th Amendment when you already had your rights. Then after then in April 9, 1868, that's when they came with the 14th Amendment. Okay? Then in 1871, that's when they created the Organic Act. District of Columbia. So they put you under that so-called, what they call a government. First they had to make you 14th Amendment citizen first, and then they had to go create a fake government to say you're a U.S. citizen. Now if y'all understand what the United States means, then you know you can't be no U.S. citizen. I've shown this to people, they got mad. I said, well, you can't get mad with me. You read it right there. You want to be, it was like the Dred Scott. He wanted to be a U.S. citizen so bad, but Albions told him, you cannot be a citizen under this Constitution. And y'all know that the Constitution ain't got nothing to do with y'all either, right? Because the Constitution don't give you rights. You were born with rights. Now, only thing you use that Constitution for is to remind the thief over there who's getting ready to violate your rights. I'm talking about them judges, because all of them are U.S. citizens. Governors, mayors, judges, all of them are U.S. persons. Y'all can go and pull that up in the IRS manual. The IRS don't lie, they put it right in front of your face. Mm-hmm. So all of them work hand in hand See, I don't deal with them. Because once you're under the trust, you're not part of their trust now. So you got to come from under their trust into your trust. Because everything is about business. It's commerce. And I'm trying to show you all commerce. You got to learn how to do commerce. But you can't do it on the 14th Amendment. That's not going to work. And right now, what's getting ready to come down that pipe? If y'all got them houses and you ain't in no trust, oh, that bank is coming. And they going to kick you out.
That's what we get.
And you ain't getting no help from Biden either. Because he's the culprit. That's the one trying to get y'all to get them shots. Y'all got to understand that ain't no government. See, everybody was fighting against Trump. You didn't like Trump, though. I ain't really care for him either, but Trump was doing some stuff behind the scenes. That's why they didn't want Trump. Because he was talking too much. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That's what they didn't like. So they had to get you back under Democrats. See? That's what you all think you are anyway, especially those copper tone skinned people. Oh, I'm Democrat. I look at them, really? You know. Anyway, let me get on back to the show. Now, let's see here. Where did I leave off? That's the state. So, they later came to take over our states. I say they call it now the state of. Didn't I tell y'all that? Ain't that what they call them? State of? They don't call it republic. See, once they took the land over there, they had to come. So all the states sold us out. So you're up under their trust right now. Let me keep going. Now, you all thought that George Washington was the first president, but he is informing the Sultan of Morocco that he has been appointed supreme executive authority by the United States, by the corporation. You see? I have been informing people that the United States is a federal corporation on paper according to Title 28, USC 3002, Section 15A. A corporation cannot be in common law. On the other hand, when done properly, the express trust is afforded all the common law protections ordinarily given to private contracts, particularly the obligation of them. So in other words, let's say you write checks, right? Whether you got a money order, you got a check. See, it used to be a time when y'all can write them personal checks and they used to come back, stamped on it, paid. But if you notice, they don't send them back to y'all now. Y'all ever figured out why? Because you don't do no restrictive endorsement. That's in there. I'm going to show it to you. See, y'all don't restrict them. Because on that dollar, you have two entities on there. You have the Federal Reserve, which is the United States Treasury. And on the other side of it, you have the Secretary of the Treasury, who's now in the IMF. So on that side with the Secretary of the Treasury, that's the real money side. But them in the Federal Reserve do business every day. So every time you all use that Federal Reserve, I call it your credit paper. Because it ain't money. It says it right on there. Federal Reserve note. And again, they got you thinking it's money. You kill it over it. But they don't lie, they put it right in there on the four-corner rule. In the little square up top. Federal Reserve note. So like you got a car note, house note, Federal Reserve note. Got serial numbers on it. Credit paper. So when you all learn how to do restrictive endorsements, so now they can't securitize and monetize. So that's what making the debt go up. Because of y'all. And you ain't putting no restrictions on it. Because you think it's real money. So every time you get something, you got to put that stamp on it, redeem in lawful money. Why do you think they tell y'all to redeem it in lawful money? If it's real money, then you don't need to tell them to redeem it in no lawful money. Am I correct?
Right.
You got to redeem it for a reason, because it ain't real money. Now, it has a real money side to it when you know how to use it, but you have to be on the trust side of the ledger to know how to use that. Okay? Y'all give away income every day and you don't even know. You call it income screening. Every time you go to a corporation and you spend that Federal Reserve note, y'all know y'all giving them income? People look at me, what you talking about, back? You giving them income. That's what you're giving them. So if you into the trust, at the end of the year, now you can file that 1041. Find you a good CPA, and you let them file to get them funds back. All them bills y'all got in that water bill, light bill, phone bill, cable bill, internet bill, once y'all set your trust up, you put all them bills in that trust name. Then when the trust paying them bills, the trust is giving out expense now. So at the end of the year, they can claim it back. Okay?
Not taxable.
Everybody okay?
You ready? You ready for that?
All right. Now, the basis for express trust under the common law in this instant is not that such organizations are creatures of common law, as distinguished from corporations, but that they are created under common law of contract and do not depend upon any statutes. So when I'm setting your trust up, I'm not setting it up under the corporation called the United States. That's why when I do your SS4, you set it up under foreign jurisdiction, foreign from the United States. Understand that. See? You got to stay foreign from them. You still can operate, but you just got to stay foreign. You got to know how to operate. So, what is the definition of executive? It means someone with senior managerial responsibility in a business organization. They're talking about that George Washington again. Such as decision-making, directing, and controlling. So George Washington was a CEO and chief administrator of a federal corporation called the United States. This is saying that George Washington sent a letter dated August 17, 1788 to the Sultan of Morocco advising him that the Moors Aborigine government is in dissolution. Dissolution means closure or disbanding because they walked out and remain unanswered. Adjournment, Cyanide, Latin mean without day, means without assigning a day for a further meeting or hearing on this matter and has been delivered to me. Remember, George Washington was a general in the Civil War. So he's addressing this to His Majesty as an opportunity for a peaceable overthrow of the late government in a favor of a new government. He could not have been general president at the same time. The Sultan of Morocco is not telling Tunis and Tripoli hands off and let them go. So in other words, when they used to come through the ship docks, if they didn't have the blackmail, which means the tax they had to pay, so Tunis and Tripoli would take their ships with all the cargo on it. Okay? We greatly regret the hostile disposition. Now look at what he's saying now. We greatly regret the hostile disposition of those regencies toward this nation. Tunis and Tripoli were the enforcers and took the ships of the United States when they did not want to pay the blackmail or tax. This is what the movie Pirates of the Caribbean was all about. Within our territories, there are no mines, whether of gold or silver. He's talking about their jurisdiction in the Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. The Congress shall have the power to exercise exclusive, limited legislation, which means writing and passing law in case whatsoever over such district. not exceeding 10 miles. That's as far as her jurisdiction goes, okay? As made by cession, giving of something of particular states, and the acceptance of Congress becomes the seat of the government of the United States, District of Columbia, and the exercise like authority over all places purchased by consent of the legislature, which means the administration or governing body, of the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of fort, military posts, magazine, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make all law which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers. Basically, they are saying we don't have any